Hello everyone, welcome. It's August 2023. This is Learn British English Free on YouTube and Facebook. My name is Chris and this is a lesson for Josephine. She requested it earlier in the year. It's about British food. Tasty. Thank you, Josephine. Josephine has been with us for many years already. Pleasure as always, and thank you for thinking of us for this request. British food is a topic that we often would cover in the lessons in class, actually, because the students would come over for a short time. And many people have a negative view of British food, rightly or wrongly, but there are some good elements to it. I'll try to give a balanced view in this short discussion. I wanted to talk about only a few main points. A lot of it you probably already know. In the UK, we do like our potatoes and things like that. Other root vegetables like carrots are popular. But the negative view often of British cooking can be a bit unfair, especially recently. A lot of the most famous chefs in the world are from Britain, such as Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay. You've probably heard of those guys. A key point for me is that we have food influences from all over the world, to the point that it's quite famous now that a dish here called chicken tikka masala, which people often consider to be Indian, but I understand is sort of made actually in the UK in terms of it's not a traditional Indian dish, and it was invented or created by people living here at some point. And that's often considered one of the most popular British dishes now, chicken tikka masala. And that's interesting. You can look it up. The history of it is fairly interesting, actually. As I say, it's very popular. And it links to the influence of foreign cuisine, the amount of foreign restaurants and takeaways that we have around the country is considerable. I wanted also to mention that, like with accents and dialects, food preferences can vary around the different parts of the UK. In Scotland, for instance, there's a very delicious thing called haggis. I like it, at least. Apologies to vegetarians. Haggis is made from the internal parts of a sheep, mixed with other ingredients. Personally, I enjoy this. It's not something that you will commonly find in my area down south in England, but when I've been to Scotland, I've eaten plenty of that, and I really enjoy it. Another thing we can talk about, rather than only food, drinks as well. The UK has quite a rich culture of drinks of various sorts, especially alcoholic ones. If we think about Scotland again, then Scotch whisky is a very famous type of alcohol. I'm originally from the southwest of England, near to Somerset, and it's called the West Country as well. This area is popular for and famous for making cider from apples. You can get a lot of different types of cider from there. And we also make lots of fruit juice here, which you may know is my personal favourite. Again, apple juice is maybe my number one drink. I mentioned lots of varieties of cider, also other types of beers and ales. People who come here from other countries are fairly fond of our alcoholic beers and ales. You can get, if you go to a pub in the UK, you will probably find a big selection of different beers to drink. And they're not all the same. If you go to different pubs, you will find different beers, ales, these sorts of things on tap to choose and try. So if you like that kind of thing, then it might not be too bad for you. We do like our desserts here. You should know about scones, maybe, that you can bake and you put on cream and jam on them, or jam and cream. It depends how you like to do it. I personally like them. I know they're popular with my Chinese friends, actually, but I know people from other countries aren't so keen on those. Those are some of the most common and stereotypical British foods, if you like, that I wanted to mention. But I do it an injustice in that, like I say, many people will turn their nose up at British food. But there are many good things here, and probably other people could give a better description of those than myself. I'm not hugely passionate about food and different things. But if you go to a nice restaurant in the UK, of which there are many, then you can find some delicious dishes, I'm sure. It's worth doing some research by yourself first, so looking for the things that you will enjoy and the places that make them well. I'll say only that much. This really isn't a fair description or discussion of British food. There's a lot more to it. I'm not really the right person to go into it in detail. But if you want to know more, you can always write me a question, a comment on YouTube or Facebook. I will have a look and we can discuss it further there. You can also see other videos from, those guys I mentioned before, Jamie Oliver, Gordon Ramsay, or you might know others who are famous. They do quite helpful short summary videos on YouTube of how to cook many dishes. That's another thing to try. All right, everyone. Thanks, Josephine, for your requests around British food. I'm sorry, I don't think that I've done a very good job describing it, but I've given you some ideas and I wanted to talk about things that might not be the obvious ones. I haven't mentioned fish and chips until now, of course, so you might have heard about some new things and some things that are interesting to look up and research yourself on the internet, if you like. Do please keep in touch. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you soon for the next lesson. Take care.